here's what I want you to do is ask for help. Reach out to somebody like my dog did and ask for help. Hey guys, my name is Ron Cecil. I'm a men's life coach in Portland, Oregon. This is my dog, Goldie. I'm also the co-host of the podcast, Cutting for Sign. And I wanted to talk to you about a common mistake I see men make regarding their emotions. And that is men tend to avoid dealing with emotions that are super high or super low. What I mean by that is it feels dangerous or excessive or a waste of time for us to get very excited and enthralled and enthusiastic in certain things. So we try to maintain this even keel over what we believe is the manly way to deal with something. It's not to say we don't get excited at moments, but I'm talking about really giving ourselves over to a new style of living or a new way of living. One of the other problems that we engage in with our emotions is we can tend to avoid the deeper feelings, the feelings, sadness of needing to have the space to grieve when we're at a loss or experiencing a loss in our life. We don't know what it's like to allow ourselves to cry or to be mad, to be really angry at something in a way that processes through our body. Often what happens is we'll get into a situation, let's say the car, we're driving around and someone cuts us off or someone pulls out in front of us, and suddenly our cortisol and our adrenaline dump and all of the things that we've been dealing with or not dealing with in the background of our mind and our subconscious comes to the surface in the form of rage. And we get this big hit when we rage. It feels good in a certain way. And that's the way that we deal with our emotions. Or we go home and we're dealing with the stress of work, or we're dealing with the stress of regular life, and our kids have gotten into our tools, didn't put them back, or they made a big mess, or our wife didn't do what she said she was going to do, or she's asking you, did you do the thing that you said you were going to do? And you finally remembered, like, oh no, I actually forgot. And then you go down the spiral of fear and guilt and shame about it. And then you're short with your family and angry. And really what that is undealt with emotions about yourself. And so I wanted to talk to you about a couple things here. Number one is most guys will not give themselves the bandwidth and the space to deal with those emotions. Most of us, if you have any kind of device in your life, will default to picking up a phone and scrolling. You'll scroll through Instagram or Facebook or the news or YouTube, and maybe that's how you found me here. And I want to say you're not alone, man. Millions of guys do that. It's the most common way of dealing with our emotions. We just pick up our digital devices. It gives us the dopamine hit. It gives us the adrenaline. It gets us the cortisol. It gets us the serotonin. Everything that we're looking for, it's there. It works. Another common way that we deal with our emotions or don't deal with our emotions is by drinking. Right now, drinking is the leading cause of death in the United States. 1 in 5 deaths in the United States right now are alcohol involved. We're running more to alcohol than we ever have in the history of America. It's very common. It's the way that we socialize. It's the way that we unwind at the end of the day. It's the way that we deal with the stress that we're going for. And the reason we use it is because it works. It's really effective at deadening our senses. So I want you to notice, are you doing that? Are you scrolling and using alcohol to remove yourself from your emotions? And I'd say the third way that we're doing that, especially in the West, in the United States, in the states that weed is legal, is we stay stoned. I have talked to a number of men this last week, and every one of them talked about using weed to essentially escape the problems of their life. I want to say there's a different option, and there's certainly a better way to deal with it. There are long-term consequences to everything that I named so far, whether it is scrolling on your phone, it is drinking too much, or weed. I noticed this the other day in the headlines that weed is now being associated with testicular cancer. That was such a surprise. And the reason why they're finding this stuff is because now that it's legal, there are new long-term studies that are now accessible that weren't before when weed was illegal. So now that there's a lot more people using it and they're using it for longer terms, we're finding out things about it. And unfortunately, it's just not the wonder drug that we all hoped and thought it would be. And I was there, guys. Like, I used to use it quite frequently to deal with my stuff. So what can you do? Number one, you can actually learn to meditate. I've got several meditation videos already on this channel. They're all about 15 minutes. It's about the time you need to begin to allow your brain to begin to defrag from your day. Number two, you can use other drugs. Go to your doctor, talk to them about anti-anxiety medication. I actually use quite a low dose of Lexapro, and I meditate every single day. And between those two things, I can feel a physical difference in my body. I used to carry anxiety in my chest, my solar plexus, for such a long time that I thought that was normal. I didn't have a memory of my life without that feeling of anxiety right here. I didn't know what it was like to live with it. I was talking to my doctor. She's like, that's not normal. It's like, what? It's not normal? How is that not normal? And she prescribed for me a little bit of an antidepressant. Then, after I had been on that for a little while, I had begun to experiment with meditation. And once I had a conversation with Gay Hendricks, the author of The Big Leap, who said that he had more success from meditation than any other modality. That's when I decided that I had to give myself over to it. Again, if you've heard my other conversations or seen my other videos on meditation, most men feel like, oh, meditation doesn't work for me, because we have this preconceived idea of what we think meditation should be, that it should be this way of emptying your mind and you should be good at it. And that's the furthest from the truth. That's the reason you meditate, because you have a mind that is busy and has all its files and its thoughts and synapses whizzing and whirling around, and they need to do it more. And when we just jump on our phone or use drugs and alcohol, we don't allow our brain to refile everything in there and to process what's going on. Meditation, anti-anxiety, some other ways that you could do it are classic ways that I've learned through therapy and I've worked with men, is to write about it. Jump on your computer, open your notebook, and just begin to write about your day. Really simple. What's the thorn of the day? What was very difficult? What was the rose? What was nice? You can begin to think about a problem in your life and draw around it. These are really simple concepts, really easy. And the last thing is, and this is something I think a lot of guys have difficulty doing, is to reach out to a friend, reach out to somebody that you've not talked to, and begin to have a real conversation about what's going on in your life. Don't hesitate to tell them that you're struggling, and ask them if they're struggling. Ask them what's going on in their life. Begin to be curious and begin to be encouraging about what it is. Because odds are, if they're dealing with something in their relationship or their career or as a dad, 99% of the time, it's a kind of universal experience they're going through. In other words, we know what it's like to struggle in a relationship. We know what it's like to struggle in our career. Be a man and share your experience in that. Help people understand that they are not alone. Now, the last thing is, if you're at a stage in your life where you are really at a crossroads and trying to figure out what your next right step is for your path, and that might be because you've just gone through a divorce. It might be that you're on the brink of a divorce. It might be that you're on the brink of a huge career change, or you've been at the same job for so long that you can't imagine what life might be like somewhere else, but you are desperate to get out of there. And you're noticing something inside yourself, which is you're starting to self-sabotage. Like, you're starting to do things that might fuck it up. And if you're at one of those places, here's what I want you to do is ask for help. Reach out to somebody like my dog did and ask for help. You can ask a coach, you can ask me, you can scroll down below and click on a form to speak with me. Do something to take care of yourself, because we all need someone in our life to help us out. I hope that's encouraging to you guys. I hope to see you here again soon. Take care.